The following is a production of the Maine Public Broadcasting Network.
Some of us are born to choose, some are born to cruise, and the rest get by somehow. A crazy world for most of us, it's a legacy of dust, and it's hard to keep the horse before the plow. But you're alright now, you're alright now. You can fly like a bird if you believe that you're alright now. I knew a girl in the summertime, her hair was long and her eyes did shine, and she hung out with the dangerous crowd. Just now she come to mind, she was a long gone Valentine, and I'm hoping that she's alright now. Alright now, alright now. She can fly like a bird if she believes that she's alright now. I had a friend, my old pal, one time he went to jail for moving some bad stuff around. But he got out and he went clean, found himself a brand new scene, and I hear that he's alright now. Alright now, alright now. He can fly like a bird if he believes that he's alright now. Some walk barefoot in their dreams, some dive deep and come up clean, some dream they never have to stoop and bow. But there's a thing that I have learned, you gotta lean right into the turn, and I'm telling you, man, that you're alright now. Alright now, alright now. You can fly like a bird if you believe that you're alright now. Alright now, alright now. You can fly like a bird if you believe that you're alright now. This song came to me sort of in a dream a couple years ago. It's the closest thing I ever got to a patriotic song. This is where the journey ends, here where the river bends, rough water down the line. This old boat is past her prime, but we can still make her come about. Here in this wind, This is where the north meets the south. And this is where the east meets west. This is where we are our best. Goodbye to the good old days. Put all that stuff away. Our belief is bigger than our doubt. Time to begin. This is where the north meets south. Calling all of wisdom and clouds. Time to dig in. This is where the north meets south. Where we start to heal. It's a brand new deal. Listen to the old bell ring. This is where they did those things. All that fighting and flailing about. This is where it ends. This is where the north meets south. We all got us here, we gotta get us out. Time to begin. This is where the north meets south. I was speaking about northern and southern Maine there, actually, with that song. Everything all right out there? Now, my old man was not a mover nor a shaker, just a dreamer. I'm a lot like him. He used to talk a lot about the old days, mister, when the times was tough and the money was thin. He used to go fishing about once a year, laugh himself silly on a couple of beers, tell an old story to a willing ear, and then he'd turn right around to tell it again. My old man, talking about my old man. He was there at the start with a willing heart. He was there when the world began. My old man, my old man. I'm just sitting here thinking about my old man. Now my old man was a daddy till I got too cool to call him that anymore. And he took my mother to the green shawl dance and wants to across the floor. He took us to town on a Friday night. He used to chew tobacco when he got uptight, just to sitting, spitting in the fading light in the car in front of the grocery store. My old man, talking about my old man. He was there at the start with a willing heart. He was there when the world began. My old man, my old man. I'm just sitting here thinking about my old man. Well, my old man was a dragon in the pants, man, when he got home from the mill. With the chores and the weeds and the kids to feed, you know he never had a minute to kill. But he always had a twinkle in his old gray eyes. Felt a lot better when he worked outside. Worked right up until the day he died. And I bet the Lord's got him working still. My old man, talking about my old man. He was there at the start with a willing heart. He was there when the world... Help me out here, all right? Well, my old man, my old man. I'm just sitting here thinking about my old man. I'm just sitting here thinking about my old man. I'm just sitting here thinking about my old man. Yeah, thank you. My old man. Got together one night. Time to get the whole thing while the getting's right. 10 men in black hats in a shack on the edge of town. You might think I'm crazy, but that's where the deal went down. 10 men with big hands and eyes full of blood. I had the steel to make that deal in the drizzle and the mud. The air smelled like kerosene, there was a shotgun standing by. The only light in the whole damn room was the gleam of the 10 men's eye. 10 men in black hats on a cold, cold night. 10 black cars are idling in the glow of the red tail light. 10 men with black hearts cutting up the spoils. The wind howled in the tall tree, there was a pot beginning to boil. One man got the silver, one man got the gold. One said, I don't want nothing, I just don't ever want to grow old. One said, I get the water, he said they need it everywhere. One said, I get all the messages people send out through the air. They divvied up the green grass, they divvied up the soil. One man got all the iron ore and another man got all the oil. One said, I get the people, they all work for me. Another, his little brother, said, I get all the fishes in the sea. Black hats with faces cold and hard. So this is good for everyone, somebody gotta take charge. And then they all lit their stogies and they tipped back in their chairs. 10 men in black hats, are you sure you wasn't there? Just keep going on that. These tunes, a lot of these tunes are from my newest record. Came out last year. It's new to me. Like the last one and this one. I was writing a batch of songs. I like to sit down and I write an album usually. I feel I need a record, so I sit down and write enough songs for one. And I was sort of stuck a couple years ago. I had a great little riff and I had a great little melody in my head. And the first line that came to mind was, "I've no idea." So I decided to go with that. An innocent time. I've no idea how it all came to pass, but of all this noise, only a bit will last. Words that fall soft on your ear, you remember all those years, and as you grow old, it stays in a place in your mind, like a tune from an innocent time. And I've no idea when I first heard those lines. Life is wide open, oh, how the sun did shine. And I was wide-eyed and naive. I thought all I needed was a Saturday night and a pair of shoes that shine, and a tune from an innocent time. Time again, it just keeps slipping in. Of how it all came down. Seems like I spent my whole life riding around with a guitar in a van, doing all I can to conjure up something that resembles an opening line of a tune from an innocent time. Time again, it just keeps slipping in. Just a tune from an innocent time. Hey, thank you. What a pleasure. What a pleasure. What a great, I can even see the crowd. That's nice. I've been at this a long time. My brother Neil and I started out in '62 on Spotlight on Youth, and we used to do a lot of country tunes in those days, including this one. This is a country song from 1961 that I've always really liked a lot. And these guys, I'm not sure they know it, but it's easy to learn this stuff. How's that tempo? Yeah. It's an old song by a name named Bobby Edwards back in 1961. Sometimes I can't sleep at night. I toss and I turn, loving you so. How my heart yearns, honey, you're the reason I don't sleep at night. I walk the floor, feeling so blue. Smoke cigarettes, drink coffee too. Honey, you're the reason I don't sleep at night. Now I'm betting you're not losing sleep over me. But if I'm wrong, don't fail to call. Come over and keep me company. I go for a walk, take a look at the moon, strum my guitar, sing all of tunes. Honey, you're the reason I don't sleep at night. You're not losing sleep over me. But if I'm wrong, don't fail to call. Come over and keep me company. I can't sleep at night. I toss and I turn, loving you so. How my heart burns, honey, you're the reason I don't sleep at night. I go for a walk, take a look at the moon, strum my guitar, sing all of tunes. Honey, you're the reason I don't sleep at night. One time. I love that. Okay. I'm sort of convinced that my next record should be a record of old country tunes. But there's so many good ones. Well, somewhere when I was in college at Orono, I started to think about writing songs. It took me 3-4 years to get my wheels under me. And this is one of my first tunes. I started this in Quebec one day with my old man when we were working in the garden, and I finished it that night in a friend's house in Old Town, and this is the garden song. Inch by inch and row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch and row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, man is made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to grow my own, 'cause the time is close at hand. And grain for grain, sun and rain, find my way in nature's chain, and tune my body and my brain to the music from the land. Jump in here if you want to. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch and row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song, and Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. And an old crow watching hungrily from his perch in yonder tree, and in my garden I'm as free as that feathered thief up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. And inch by inch and row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warm them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Thank you. A lot of times when I'm in a strange town far away, sometimes I get asked to go in the school and sing that song for the kids. And I often do. I was in Alaska a few years back, and this woman wrote me an email. She said, we have a little school with like 20 kids, and we'd love you to come sing the garden song. And we'll give you lunch. And we don't have anything to give you. We don't have any money, but I said, oh, it's okay. I went back to her and I said, I'll work for salmon. And all the kids brought me their home recipe of smoked salmon. It was pretty cool. It worked out pretty well, till the airline took it all away from me. One, two, three. I had a sweetheart in my younger days. I thought she'd leave me never, but some things go and leave no trace, but the road goes on forever. And I've had good friends in my life, around me they did gather, and without them I'd have surely died, but the road goes on forever. Oh, when I fell from the arms of my lover, oh, when I fell from the long arm of the law, as I dove down deep in my fitful sleep, the highway was all that I saw, and there ain't no sure hand in this deal. We all just take whatever, but nights like this I always feel that the road goes on forever. Of the as I dove down deep in my fitful sleep. The highway was all that I saw. And sometimes when I'm standing still, it hits me like a shiver that there ain't no mansion on no hill, just a road goes on forever. And sometimes when I'm standing still, it hits me like a shiver that there ain't no mansion on no hill, just a road goes on forever. Just a road goes on forever. Just a road goes on forever.
Tune's getting a little high there. I gotta watch it.
When we were young, we were out on the street, rocking and rolling up on our feet, burning a candle, keeping a beat. We ran wild in the 60s. And when we were young, we were calling swell, right on fire, crazy as hell. Guess we all drank water from a different well. We ran wild in the 60s. And if you're wondering what went wrong and where have all the flowers gone, you're living in a time where you don't belong, but you ran wild in the 60s. You sure look a lot different then. A little more salt and a little more sin. Save the world, let the party begin. We ran wild in the 60s. And our heroes got cut down one by one. Some to the fast lane, some to the gun. And we all cried and kept on the run. We ran wild in the 60s. And if you're wondering what went wrong and where have all the heroes gone, you're living in a time where you don't belong, but you ran wild in the 60s. Been a long time since it all come down. Nothing much changed when you get downtown. There's guys on the sidewalks hunkering down that ran wild in the 60s. You know nothing really changed that much. Them in charge are still out of touch. And the rich get richer and the poor get stuck, just like back in the 60s. And if you're wondering what went wrong and where have all the dreamers gone, you're living in a time where you don't belong, but you ran wild. And if you're wondering what went wrong and where have all was gone. You're living in a time where you don't belong, but you ran wild. In the 60s, I knew this place, I knew it well, every sound and every smell. And every time I walked, I fell for the first 2 years or so. There across the grassy yard, I, a young boy running hard, brown and bruised and battle-scarred and lost in sweet illusion. From my window, I can see the fingers of an ancient tree, reaching out, it calls to me to climb its surly branches. But all my climbing days are gone, and these tired legs I'm standing on would scarcely dare to leave the spot upon which they are standing. And I remember every word from every voice I ever heard, every frog and every bird, just this is where it starts. My father's laugh, the sighing wind, this is where my life begins. This is where I learned to use my hands and hear my heart. And this house is old, it carries on like lyrics to an old-time song. Always changed but never gone, this house will stamp the seasons. And our lives pass on from door to door, dust across the wooden floor. Feather rain and thunder roar, we need not know the reason. And all these thoughts come back to me like ships across a friendly sea, like breezes blowing endlessly, like rivers running deep. The day is done, the lights are low, and the wheels of life are turning slow. And as these visions turn and go, I lay me down to sleep. And I knew this place, I knew it well, every sound and every smell. And every time I walked, I fell for the first 2 years or so. The day is done, the lights are low, and the wheels of life are turning slow. And as these visions turn and go, I lay me down to sleep.
Thank you. Thank you. We're going to take a little intermission now. A little intermission.
Don't go away. The second half of David Mallett live at the Gracie is coming right up after the band takes a short break. But first, Frank, you sat down recently with David Mallett for one of your upcoming episodes of Conversations with Maine.
That's right, Suzanne. The episode that we did with him can be seen in its entirety when Conversations with Maine returns to MPBN television and radio. It's going to be in January. We have an excerpt from that show for you to show right now.
Great. Let's take a look, and then we'll be back with more David Mallett live at the Gracie.
Sounds good. Well, Dave Mallett, thanks for being here on Conversations. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
You remember your first guitar?
Oh, absolutely. It was a 1963 Martin 018, which is a little small body auditorium. It's the bottom of the line Martin guitar. Yeah. But I'd been playing my brother's Gibson, so I knew a good guitar, and I had to have a Martin, and it cost $140. I got it at Viner's Music up in Bangor on Broad Street. I always remember that.
Yeah. But that was your first real good guitar.
My first real guitar. Actually, I'd played The only guitars I'd played had been my brother. He had a couple harmonies, and we had a Silvertone kicking around the house,
Yeah.
but the Martin was my first guitar.
Now, you and your brother were the original Mallett Brothers
We were.
band.
We were.
Tell me about that.
We started, our debut on television was in November of 1962 when we went on Spotlight on Youth and did the contest, and we won the first couple of rounds, and then we eventually started playing with country bands like Hal Lone Pine,
Yeah.
who would go into a small town in a Grange Hall and they'd have a talent show. And we'd follow him around every week and win $5. It was kind of fun. And then he invited us on his television show, and then we became a duo. And we did a lot of different venues throughout Maine in the mid-'60s.
Yeah.
Had a little television show in Bangor for a
Yeah.
while in the late
What kind of
60s.
material were you doing?
Folk, pretty much. Folk music and some country songs thrown in and some pop songs that had a folk twist.
Yeah.
But mostly it was anything two young guys could do with an acoustic guitar. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I read on your website that you were a theater major,
I was.
and you decided at some point, and I'm interested in this, that you got tired of doing other people's words and thought maybe you should write your own.
It just seemed, I think the theater was a way to get me in school and be on stage and just be around performance. But my real passion was the music, and I'd started to discover songwriters about the same time. And it just seemed to make much more sense for me as a singer.
Yeah, yeah. And then in the late 70s, I understand you met Paul Stuckey.
After college, I was sort of dubbing around, writing songs and playing in bars and sleeping on couches. And I had a handful of songs, and I saw on the newscast that Paul Stuckey had moved to Maine, and he was one of my heroes from my boyhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I called him up and I said, I want to come visit you. And I went down and we hung out, and I showed him my little batch of songs, and we became lifelong friends.
And he recorded you,
He
one of your
recorded
first
me,
records,
yeah,
right?
My first 3 albums, actually.
Yeah.
It was a great thrill. In the late 70s, there weren't that many recording studios around, and his was one of the best. And we had eight whole channels to work with. It was kind of mind-blowing at the time.
And was that just solo with guitar?
No, I had a little band. I had different players come
Yeah.
in. Some of the people I still stay in touch with today.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Tell me about the Garden Song. That's probably one of your better known songs, and it's been recorded. It's been recorded how many times?
Hundreds of times.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
That just came from the act of helping my father in the garden in the spring. I was in my 20s, and I was really I was trying to write songs, and I didn't know, you didn't know what to write about, so suddenly one drops down in front of me, and it became a good song. And it just became sort of an innocent little thing, inch by inch, row by row. It was sort of a hymn to the earth and to the act of planting things.
Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground.
You seem to have a knack for lyric. Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. I'm not real well read. I don't read a lot, but I've always felt I carefully craft my words in my songs.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow it's a mathematical approach, and it's a polishing. But I learn something every time I write a song. I get better. Early on, I was known as someone who was a good lyricist, and now I feel like I look at my old stuff and I'm miles beyond that.
Yeah. You made a move to Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear people talk about, they went to Nashville, as though that were some elixir, some magic thing, but the reality of it must be very different.
Oh, very much. Yeah, I went there sort of like you go to school.
Yeah.
It was sort of like going to Cambridge and getting my PhD or something, but
Mm-hmm.
I lived pretty much as a student while I was there. I did some TV and made some records, but there's such a community down there, and you get to interact with a lot of people that are like yourself.
It's a network.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And one of the things I read that you said was, what you brought away from there was you learned to make better records.
Yeah.
How so?
I learned how to direct a band better. I learned how to express myself better on tape. I think that's it, pretty much. I learned how to get more out of players.
Yeah.
And how to express myself.
Yeah.
And I also learned the uniqueness, the importance of a unique point of view. Because when I was there, everyone had the same point of view. Like country music sort of drives home one message or
Right.
2 or 3 messages, and I felt like there's more to this, you know. So every time I came back to New England, I'd breathe a deep sigh, and then I came back and started writing a new batch of songs, say 10, 15 years ago, that were distinctly unique in their point of view.
And is that the groundwork for your new recording?
It is. Yep.
All right now?
Yep.
And tell me about that title.
It's a great record. I struggled to get a record started for about 4 years. My last one was Artist in Me in '03, and then I did a spoken word project, and then I didn't have any songs, and I was struggling along, and it was like 2008, and I went back to some old notes and pulled up some songs that I had sketched away on in the '90s. And I wrote a song for my daughter, who'd always been asking for a song, and before I knew it, I was in the flow again. And it takes you over. When I write a record, it's like building a house, sort of, only it's 24 hours a day, and it's all in your head. And there are hammers going on and saws, you know, all the time. So you get pretty self-absorbed.
That's an interesting comment. When you write a record,
Yeah.
you're not just writing a single tune. You're thinking of it as a whole collection.
I usually do. I usually wait until I need to have. I might have 1 or 2 songs floating around that I'm working on, or instrumental things, but when I feel I need a record, you pull those things together, you polish them and say, now it's a song, it's ready to record.
I look at your touring schedule. You are all over the map.
I don't tour as much as a lot of guys, but I seem to do it year round. You know, I'll go to California for 3 dates, and then I think last March, or a year ago last March, I was in like 8 states in that month, all in all. So it can be very busy. And then I'll have a couple of months where I just kick around Maine, you know,
Yeah.
which I really enjoy. I like being able to drive my own car to my shows and then drive home afterwards. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, you know, talking about driving your own car, I mean, I'm curious about your take on life on the road. What does that entail for you?
It's
It's tough, isn't it?
it's very tough. It's mostly lugging your gear through the airport, dealing with the humiliation of modern travel, being late inevitably on one end or the other, doing the hotel, you know, lugging the stuff up the hall. Then you go to the show, you walk in, it's 5 o'clock, people are there setting up, and you sort of turn on, and you work real hard for like 5 or 6 hours, and then you go back to the hotel and you just absolutely crash. And get up the next day, and you get to the airport again, and whatever, or the rent-a-car.
Yeah.
It's nothing that I've ever done for months at a time, but weeks at a time really wears on you.
Yeah. And in that world, what makes a good performance for you? What are all the elements that come together, or if you have memorable moments that
I don't know what it is. It always comes together, though. I think if I can be alone and with the songs and before the show and get a moment of relaxation, and it kind of turns itself on. I like watching the transition from chaos to order. From like travel, you know, a highway, the food, where are we going to eat, all this, and then you get to the stage and it's like, you know exactly what's happening.
Right.
I like that. I like making that transition.
Yeah. You're not, I mean, you could sit and play tunes in your living room, but the audience is an integral part of that experience.
Yep, absolutely. And when they start feeding off you, you know, I think that's the important thing. You know if you've got them, and if you don't have them, you work real hard to get them in the next song, you know, or the next song, the next group of songs.
Yeah, yeah.
I used to worry that I had them a lot, like during the show, and lately I worry less, and it works better.
Now, you just came off a tour. Where were you, and what did you see?
Oh, I just did a west tour out west in Montana. I did 2 dates in Montana, a date in Salt Lake, and it was fun. Like I like to go to the West once in a while and visit my friend and ride horseback. But I played in some cool little venues. In Yellowstone, a little theater downtown called the Pine Cone Theater, and it was lovely. It was Labor Day weekend, and then after that, my next show was in Greenville, Maine, on the Katahdin. So I thought I went from Yellowstone to Greenville. It's a nice. I work in nice neighborhoods.
Yeah, yeah, and not all big major venues.
No. I actually don't work cities much. I prefer working smaller cities, and the country.
But back in the day, you were part of some pretty major festivals, Newport,
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia.
They're all fun. You know, when you're young, it's fun to go and hang out
Yeah.
with 20,000 people that stay up all night and party, you know. Folk festivals they're great. They're moving parties, kind of.
Right, right. And some of the people that you've worked with hold pretty big credentials as
Oh, yeah,
well.
yeah.
Not that you don't, but
Well, I have met a lot of people that are my heroes,
Mm-hmm.
and I've met a lot of players who taught me how to play like much better just by playing with them.
well, it brings up an interesting question. Who are your heroes musically?
Oh, Buck Owens, you know, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, all the guys that are a little older than me.
Yeah, yeah.
Dylan, of course, who just stays eternally young, and Lightfoot, who still sings like a bird.
Yeah.
And but everyone, I think I over the years I've broadened my taste, so I like just about everything.
You mentioned Gordon Lightfoot up in Canada. Do you get up there much to play?
A couple times, maybe once every couple of years.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been a couple of years.
Because I know one of the other songs that you wrote, The Ballad of St. Anne's Reel, is about Prince Edward Island.
It is.
Is that a personal story?
Not really. I made that up. I was in Orono. This was in the mid-'70s when fiddling was having sort of a resurgence, and I knew a lot of fiddlers and hung out with them. And people were dancing, and it was a contra dance, and I just got this little idea. Went out to the car. It was a warm summer night, and I sat there and I wrote, he was stranded in a tiny town on fair Prince Edward Isle, waiting for a ship to come and find him. And it just sort of took over. Yeah. And I made up this little story about a man who was stranded in Prince Edward Island on a winter night and got invited to a dance. And the stories about the dance and the fiddle player and
the girl.
It was and the girl.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. People snatched it up and started singing it.
Oh yeah.
It became sort of a standard. The St. Anne's Reel is an old standard fiddle tune, but then they adopted this song about a fiddle tune very well.
Yeah.
And there are several YouTubes of people doing the St. Anne's Reel.
Oh, everyone from John Denver to you.
The
Yeah.
Dubliners. The Dubliners do a great
did it, yeah.
version.
Yeah. I was up in Prince Edward Island recently, and there's a singer up there, Gordon Belcher, and Gordon sings that and plays it, and has a fiddler that plays with him, and it makes for a great tune. Now, your current band, you've got what, bass and violin with you, or
I tour. I do most of my shows with Mike Bird, my bass player, and Susan Ramsey, my fiddler. But tonight I have Robbie Coffin playing electric guitar with me.
And your bass player's been with you forever.
Yes, 30-odd years now.
So you guys kind of know where each other's going.
We read each other's minds pretty well, and that's kind of like, that's one thing that I envy in people that have the big band. They'd go on the road, they'd play every night for like 20 years, and they could read each other's minds.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I doubt that you put music aside much, but if you did, or if you do, what other passions do you enjoy?
Everything outdoors. I have an old tractor I work on. I garden pretty much. Have a couple of old horses. Mostly it's just the simple Maine life I like to do.
Did I see somewhere that you also invite people to come to your farm and as farm stays, kind of bed and breakfast type of thing?
We have a little place that we have people come in and rent it by the week sometimes, and we have a lot of friends come by, and it's a lovely old house that we restored, and I actually recorded a record there. It was kind of fun. I brought in a mobile unit and did a record there. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's comfortable, isn't it?
Yep.
When you're in your own environment.
Absolutely.
Don't go away. The second half of David Mallett live at the Gracie will begin right after this.
Support for this program is provided by MPBN member contributions and by the Gracie Theatre at Husson University, a new 500-seat theater designed with 5 miles of wiring and audio and lighting control systems dedicated to delivering audiences an exceptional visual and acoustical experience. GracieTheatre.com. And by New England School of Communications, a Maine school offering a Bachelor's of Science degree in Communications. Information online at nescom.edu.
We now return to MPBN Presents David Mallett live at the Gracie.
I could be a fisher, 'cause I have a friend who's buying a boat of his own when he can. And he lives in a tiny and timeless old town at the end of an island where the sea rushes down. And early each morning with the sun barely risen, with dreams of a lost love and no sign of fear, he heads for the ocean in lumbering strides, and he sets out to sea with the sun in his eyes. And he told me that if I get tired of the race and I can't keep a hold on my passion and pace, I could sleep in his kitchen and ride on the waves and learn about fishing and learn to be brave in the face of a roller with my face to the wind and fill up the bait bags and pull lobsters in. And today as I wonder what's waiting for me, I long for the islands and the sound of the sea. And I could be a farmer, 'cause I have a way of coming around at the dawn of the day. And I work some at plowing those rocky old fields with a broken down horse plow that I bought on a deal. But no one works harder than farmers and fools, and you can't learn the business in your books or your schools. You just take what it gives you and give what you can, but a man could do worse than be working the land. And today as I wonder what's waiting for me, I long for the hills and the sound of the sea. That's Michael Bird over there on the bass. Michael Bird on the upright bass. Michael Bird. Susan Ramsey on the violin and the viola. Susan Ramsey. Something a little different. It's a fishing story. It's from Henry David Thoreau's first visit to Maine in 1846. This is his fishing trip up around Aball Stream. We had been told by McCausland that we should here find trout enough. So while some prepared the camp, the rest fell to fishing. Seizing the birch poles which some party of Indians or white hunters had left on the shore, and baiting our hooks with pork or with trout as soon as they were caught, we cast our lines into the mouth of the Aball Jack Nagesic, a clear, swift, shallow stream that came in from Katahdin. Instantly a shoal of white chivin, silvery roaches, cousin trout or whatnot, large and small, prowling thereabouts, fell upon our bait, and one after another were landed amidst the bushes. Anon, their cousins, the true trout, took their turn, and alternately the silvery roaches and the speckled trout and the finest specimens of both that I have ever seen, the largest one weighing 3 pounds, were heaved upon the shore, though at first in vain, to wriggle down into the water again, for we stood in the boat. But soon we learned to remedy this evil, for one who had lost his hook stood on the shore to catch them, as they fell in a perfect shower around him, full in his face and bosom, as his arms were outstretched to receive them. While yet alive, before their tints had faded, they glistened like the fairest flowers, the product of primitive rivers. And he could hardly trust his senses as he stood over them that these jewels should have swam away in that Abal Jacknageesic water for so long. These bright fluviatal flowers, seen of Indians only, made beautiful the Lord only knows why to swim there. I could understand better for this the truth of mythology, the fables of Proteus and all those beautiful sea monsters, how all history indeed put to a mere terrestrial use is mere history, but put to a celestial is mythology always. In the night I dreamed of trout fishing, and when I awoke, it seemed a fable that this painted fish swam there so near my couch and rose to our hooks the last evening. And I doubted if I had not dreamed it all. So I rose before dawn to test its truth while my companions were still sleeping. There stood Katahdin with distinct and cloudless outline in the moonlight, and the rippling of the rapids was the only sound to break the stillness. Standing on the shore, I once more cast my line into the stream and found the dream to be real and the fable true. The speckled trout and silvery roach, like flying fish, sped swiftly through the moonlight air, describing bright arcs on the dark side of Katahdin, until moonlight, now fading into daylight, brought satiety to my mind and to the minds of my companions who had joined me. I grew up in the 60s and in a small town, Dover Foxcroft. And the place we hung out when we were kids was the gas station. It was like a men's club, you know. There's a song I wrote for one of the old fellas who used to hang around there. His name was Phil Brown. I knew a painter in my younger days, a man who lived with brushes, sticks, and stones. His days were filled with canvas scenes of browns and blues and meadow greens, and the world just passed on by his door. He lived but lived alone. And he'd come to town with his old wool hat pulled down, surrounded by the dogs that were his friends. At times too drunk to stand, he'd shake familiar hands and sit around the SO station till his loneliness would mend. I knew a painter in my reckless days, bristled, bearded, humble on his feet. A sympathetic, sad old elf, he knew me better than I knew myself in the last days of my boyhood, in my time out on the street. And long through the night, a faded yellow light would burn inside the room where he would stand and play the old Victrola and drink his rusty wine and conduct the Mozart music with his hard and shaking hand. But he could paint a picture and he could capture life, and no one ever felt things more than he. And he wasn't ever much for roses. He He'd sooner paint the thorns, 'cause he found a keener beauty there that no one else could see. Someone bought the house he lived in and painted up the room he died in, swept away the cobwebs and the dust from off the floor. The children laugh, the seasons run, young lovers roll in midnight fun, but no one loves more than the one who paints the world no more. And long through the night, a faded yellow light would burn inside the room where he would stand and play the old Victrola and drink his rusty wine and conduct the Mozart music with his heart in his shaking hand. Bring out Robbie Coffin on the guitar over here. Robbie Coffin, he's been playing forever all over the place. Robbie Coffin. And Mark Maxund on the drums. Mark. Should be easier than this, my friend. Ought to be like falling off a log. But after such a night as this, a man could go right down to the dog. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this. Should be easy at this point in time. After all I've done before. The words I'm speaking used to end up in a rhyme. Now they always seem to wind up in a roar. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this by now, knowing what I do. Now the river's rising at my door, and the water's blowing through. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this. Should be light instead of dark. Could be warm instead of cold. Like an old tree in a park, ever graceful, growing old. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this. Should be simple at the stage of the game, digging for nickels and dimes. I got nobody else but myself to blame, and that's why I'm so lonesome all the time. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this. Should be up instead of down. Should be up instead of down. In a long Cadillac, cruising through this town. Should be easier than this. Should be easier than this. Should be easy when I look in your eyes to never feel alone. It ought to be simple, hell, I shouldn't have to try to keep your love to home, just to hold on to your kiss. Should be easier than this, 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 should be easier than this. Yep, yep. I wrote the song for my daughter, Molly, when she was 18. Look at me, I'm one who knows. I can tell a violet from a rose. I can take a song and make it go for you. Oh, look at me, I'm one who tries to open up the things inside, and all I want to show you is you are the most beautiful girl. And you are a wonder in this life. And you don't know, but it's true, that I'm forever loving you, with your head up high, and that look in your eye, and all that fire inside you. You take the whole world by the hand. You go in without a plan, and let the good things guide you. 'Cause you are the most beautiful girl, and you are a wonder in this life. And you don't know, but it's true, that I'm forever loving you. 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 Now don't grow up too fast. Make every moment last of the life that lies before you. You are one of a kind, a wildflower on the vine, and the whole world is waiting for you. 'Cause you are the most beautiful girl, and you are the wonder in my life. And you don't know, but it's true, that I'm forever loving you. I'm forever loving you. I'm forever, help me out here. I'm forever loving you. 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 I'm forever loving you.
Good guy. This is kind of a country tune. It's kind of a country tune, first of all, of course, of the tempo. And also because it's got the word darling in it. Does this, guys? Maybe we should talk this over. Maybe we should take it slow. Too far gone, no turning back now. And here I am, there you are, and here we go. And you know I can't live without you. And I know you just can't say no. Shooting stars already fallen, and here I am, there you are, and here we go. And this love might last forever. Darling, that's the way the story goes. But maybe we should talk this over, 'cause I'm about to lose control. Too far gone, no turning back now. Here I am, there you are, and here we go. Maybe we should talk this over. Maybe we should take it slow. Too far gone, no turning back now. And here I am, there you are, and here we go. One more. Yeah. First time I played Husson College was back with my brother back in the 60s in the old building downtown on Park Street, I think it was. They had a hootenanny and we were there. I used to lead a life of reckless abandon. I'd walk with my head held high. I used to be the last man standing. Now I'm sleeping with an old one-eye. Life used to be one big bold adventure. I'd swim a river deep and wide, run down a mountain, drink from every fountain, but now I kinda let things slide. And there's only so much time for reminiscing. There's only so many old songs I can play. But heading down the road, something seems missing. Here I am at the end of the day.
modern life, such a strange existence, information cluttered all about. I guess getting by on a path of least resistance keeps the better man from getting out. Everybody's talking about political religion. Me, I find I'm one who disbelieves that anything resembling a true higher order will let the whole damn thing be run by thieves. And there's more than enough saints for all us sinners, and they all sure that we all gotta pay. But heading down the road, it's just losers and winners. Here I am at the end of the day. Looks like we're going belly up the whole world over. I never seen crazier times. The rich folks are saying to the poor folks, move on over, and the heroes among us told the line. A fella said the world is full of two kinds of people, them that ramble, them that just sit still. Me, I'm still figuring where exactly I fit in, for I'm 6 feet under on a hill. And there's only so much time for this complaining. It's only one more thing in the way. But heading down the road, it just keeps on raining. Here I am at the end of the day. Little darling, here I am at the end of the day. Thank you. Here I am. And you may wonder if you know me, and you may wonder if I care, or if I'll leave you sad and lonely, or if I'll always be right there. Well, there's no need for doubt now, darling, 'cause I have come to know this love of ours is no common flower. This love is like a red, red rose. And you may wonder about this dreamer, if he's all you thought he'd be, or if anything but someday ever comes from loving me. But hold me close and tell me, darling, that you have come to know this love I bring you is no common thing. This love is like a red, red rose. When you're all caught up in sweet surrender, simple truth is sometimes hard to see. But here between the tough times and the tender, it all comes down to you and me. And you may see my heart of darkness, and we may stumble now and again, but underneath this heart of darkness, there's a heart that's loving you right till the end. So hold me close and tell me, darling, that you have come to know this love of ours is no common flower. This love is like a red, red rose. This love of ours is no common flower. This love is like a red, red rose. Thank you. Moving right along here. I wrote this song a couple years, well, about 10 years ago, actually. I was sitting down trying to justify my existence to myself, and I came up with this. Must be the artist in me, guess it's just the artist in me. Why am I amazed at the wonder of it all? I guess it's just the artist in me. Why am I alone even when I'm in a crowd? It must be the artist in me, guess it's just the artist in me. Why make my living being lonely right out loud? I guess it's just the artist in me. Why do I live on coffee and wine? Why do I have to keep moving all the time? How do I know that beauty will set me free? Why am I awake when the whole world is asleep? It must be the artist in me, guess it's just the artist in me. Throw away all the things I keep, I guess it's just the artist in me. Why do I still mourn secrets of me and you? That must be the artist in me. This is best the artist in me. Why do I still mourn all the heroes of my youth? I guess it's just the artist in me. I've heard the word too. Why do I live on coffee and wine? Why do I have to keep moving all the time? How do I know that beauty will set me free? Why do I fly? Why do I fall? It must be the artist in me, guess it's just the artist in me. Why am I amazed at the wonder of it all? I guess it's just the artist in me. Why am I my best when I'm right down to a crawl? I guess it's just the artist in me. I forgot the words. Why do I seek these universal truths? That was the line. Why do I seek these universal truths? Must be the artist in me, must be the art. Why do I still mourn the heroes of my youth? I guess it must be the artist in me. I'm sorry I forgot that, man. Oh well. Too many tunes, you know. And I'm gonna write some more too. If I get lost, please come and find me. Send a sparrow to remind me. Put a soft word up behind me to take away the gloom. And if I'm late, don't give up on me, 'cause you know where I want to be. I'm wandering in mystery, or maybe it's just doom, on the dark side of the moon, on the dark side of the moon. And if my thoughts do not come clearly, and if you find that you can't hear me, and if the judge don't clear me, come and break into the room, on the dark side of the moon, on the dark side of the moon. And if I found her on the rocks at sea, and if the lifeboat does not come for me, and if I've fallen to infinity, don't let me go so soon, 'cause all my old dreams are frozen there in time, and all my old friends are waiting on the line, and the band keeps on playing a sad old tune, on the dark side of the moon, on the dark side. If I'm late, come and find me. Send a sparrow to remind me. Put a soft word up behind me to take away the gloom, on the dark side of the moon, on the dark side of the moon. All right, guys. I have a few tunes that are pretty well known. The Garden Song, of course. And Summer of My Dreams is pretty well known, but this one's the most well known, I think, especially among fiddle players. He was stranded in the tiny town on fair Prince Edward Isle, waiting for a ship to come and find him. A one-horse place, a friendly face, and coffee in the tiny trace, a fiddling in the distance far behind him. A dime across the counter then, a shy hello, a brand new friend, to walk along the street in the wintry weather. A yellow light, an open door, and a welcome friend. There's room for more, and then they're standing there inside together. He said, I've heard that tune before somewhere, but I can't remember when. Was it on some other friendly shore, or did I hear it on the wind? Was it written on the sky above? I think I heard it from someone I love, but I never heard a sound so sweet since then. His feet begin to tap. A little boy says, I'll take your hat, and he's caught up in the magic of her smile. A leap, the heart inside him went, and off across the floor he sent his clumsy body graceful as a child. He Said there's magic in the fiddler's arm, and there's magic in this town, and there's magic in the dancer's feet and the way you put them down. People smiling everywhere, boots and ribbons, locks of hair, and laughter in old blue suits and Easter gowns. Sailors gone, the room is bare. The old piano's sitting there. Someone's hat's left hanging on the rack. And empty chairs on the wooden floor that feels the touch of shoes no more, waiting for the dancers to come back. And the fiddle's in the closet of some daughter of the town. Strings broke, bow's gone, and the cover's buttoned down. But sometimes on December nights when the air is cold and the wind is right, there's a melody that passes through the town. Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Susan Ramsey, Mike Bird, Mark Moxon, Robbie Cochran, thank you. It's been a great night. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. I have a pretty good website, but then again, who doesn't? Some people have 2 or 3, don't they? Yeah, it's nice to be here. Thank you. A long time ago, I was doing a show in New Hampshire in the Mount Washington Hotel, and I was working with a guy named John Fahey, an old fella, friend of mine. And while he was on stage, I came up with the first idea for this little tune. I always think of John when I do this tune for some reason. Aurora Borealis, you're a never-moving midnight dawn above me. And I see fire softly blowing, flickering candle flame of hope and heart before me. And the world will turn and passions churn and stars may burn and split the sky beyond me. Ah, but I've been given northern lights that flash and shine and help me on my way. Oh, thunder, ancient drummer, to the summer wind and bearer of dark warning. Oh, leaves that speak in whispers, ever growing, ever dying, ever falling. There are secrets in the air, the fields are heavy with the sadness of the season. Ah, but I've been given northern lights that flash and shine and help me on my way. deep inside the river, moving slowly down the canyons, all forever. Oh, birds that move above me, with your silent wings so swift beneath this moonlight. I'm akin to all I see here. I'm a creature of these trees upon this hillside. Ah, but I've been given northern lights that flash and shine, help me on my way. Some of us born to choose, some are born to cruise, and the rest get by somehow. Crazy world for most of us, it's a legacy of dust, and it's hard to keep the horse before the plow. But you're alright now, you're alright now. You can fly like a bird if you believe that you're alright now. I knew a girl in the summertime. Her hair was long and her eyes did shine, and she hung out with the dangerous crowd. Just now she come to mind. She was a long gone Valentine, and I'm hoping she's all right now. All right now, all right now. She can fly like a bird if she believes she's all right now. I had a friend, my old pal, one time he went to jail for moving some bad stuff around. But he got out and he went clean, found himself a brand new scene. I hear that he's all right now. All right now, all right now. He can fly like a bird if you believe that he's all right now. Some walk barefoot in their dreams, some dive deep and come up clean, some dream they never have to stoop and bow. But there's a thing that I have learned, you gotta lead right into the turn, and I'm telling you, man cello right now. All right. All right now.
Support for this program is provided by MPBN member contributions and by the Gracie Theatre at Husson University, a new 500-seat theater designed with 5 miles of wiring and audio and lighting control systems dedicated to delivering audiences an exceptional visual and acoustical experience. GracieTheatre.com. And by New England School of Communications, a Maine school offering a Bachelor's of Science degree in Communications. Information online at nescom.edu.